Hello.
That's all you need. Just
I can't balance the chair.
We're live. Okay.
Down the chair. Bing bong.
All right. So I'm gonna
script.
read the script. Have you guys been to Techlahoma.org yet?
Techlahoma what?
.org.
I have not been
Well,
there.
now's your chance. I'm doing this.
Tell us more about Techlahoma.
Techlahoma.
I know, right? So thank
Name
you.
not resolved. Oh wait, no.
Thank you for joining us today. We are here thanks to Techlahoma, our volunteers and our speakers. Techlahoma is a nonprofit volunteer-run organization that puts on 39 groups, 2 conferences, and sponsors free local events. We do all of this with support of our mission to advance the grassroots tech community of Oklahoma. You can learn more at techlahoma.org. We do have a code of conduct. It's extremely important for us that all members feel safe, respected at our events. If you have any issues with someone's behavior at a Techlahoma Foundation event, please let us know via incident report form or one of the other methods provided on the website so we can take action immediately. If you want to support Techlahoma, you can do so by going to techlahoma.org/donate and sign up as a monthly subscriber, or you can just do a one-time thing. And then we are 36 Degrees North. 36 Degrees North donates the space for us to meet. They also offer free workshops as well as co-working, which that's not free. That costs money. Desks and offices for a monthly fee. You can find more of their information at the front desk. And so that's that. We're gonna wait for. It's like there's Aaron. We'll just wait for people.
Looks like you got to read it again.
Oh no,
For every person who shows up.
yeah.
Actually, I kind of like that because then like we have it at the start, and if people want to like know more about the meeting, then they could just watch the playback on it.
There's a Linux group. I didn't know that. Well,
There is a Linux.
Oklahoma game developers. That's
I
different.
put
They're
Linux.
they're in OKC.
Okay.
I put a cinnamon distro on my HP Notebook 16 because it only has 26 gigs of memory.
Yeah.
And Windows 11 is 30.
Right. I thought it was 60. Or no, minimum requirement is 60.
I think minimum requirement 60 before we get but yeah. So I put cinnamon on that,
I
and
mean, this is 10 years old. This is on a Devuan, it's a fork of Debian.
okay.
It runs okay, as best as it can with a 10-year-old Celeron.
I'm learning my way around Debian. I started off with Ubuntu, so
Yeah.
but that's what we teach over at Atlas now.
I know. Right? Yeah, well, that was one of the things I was going to bring up.
We think they're pulling it up.
No, they're not part of the other place anymore.
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
they
no
were
longer
like
with the
that.
French guys.
Yeah, they said they're independent.
All right, dope.
So that's the way it goes.
And all these groups are in OKC. No one's here in Tulsa.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. What up, Aaron, man?
How are you doing?
So it's sure. So we just did the normal intro. Hey, Charissa, right? Carissa. Okay, I was close. Sorry. Yeah, we're live, so you guys are on the thing.
Awesome.
The theme is game jams.
I thought so, because 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's are you guys going to game jam?
I'm going.
Probably.
Oh, you're going,
Give
okay.
me your ideas so I can steal them.
The idea is you go, if you don't steal an idea, you find someone's idea that you like and you help them create it.
Oh, so it's not everyone on their own then. It's you
No,
find a
no,
group.
no, like
No. It's like you could propose an idea.
Like, you
or
might be
something
with-
like that.
like you could just go there alone and just be like, I'm gonna do my own thing, or which I don't recommend, or just find a bunch of strangers and be like, what are you guys working on? You guys need me to draw something? You want me to make some noises? I'll do whatever we need. Like
I have been making a backup plan for everybody. It's like, I don't know what you want to do. For like everybody come up with an idea, then you roll off to see who actually would idea what you do.
oh, I'll do
I like that.
I'll do tools I haven't done. So we've done
All right.
GameMaker, Unity, and then I'm biased towards Unreal, so I did Unreal.
Yep.
But I haven't done. But then art tools, which is not the good idea of like you go there and it's like let's learn this tool before we do that.
Yeah.
But to me, it was kind of like more like like I've done the other game jam where it's like you go there and you just kind of do everything. So then it's like okay, well, last year we used Sprite. Have you guys seen that? Where it's like pixel art. Like I bought that and I was like, okay, we're gonna do pixel art. Figure it out. It didn't look good, but it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's okay to do if you're comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mhm.
I think that works out fine. Like if you're comfortable, like having to get fast paced, learning how to get things, in a workable state, then yeah, definitely go for it.
Well, it's also not unfamiliar things. It's like I know how to like move the mouse around to make
Yeah.
something show. I can draw smiley faces
Yeah.
and whatnot. So
So that takes a lot of pressure off the thing.
yeah,
Like the only difference between a meringue pie and an apple pie is literally just the first words of that pie sentence.
Two pixels.
meringue, like correct meringue.
I mean, true.
Getting those egg whites and like getting the shell.
It's a pie, but extra.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go down how usually a game jam goes. If you have any questions while I'm doing this, like just ask. Don't feel like you're not involved. So you want to show up just a little bit early, but usually if it starts at 5, that's when it's like, okay, we're gonna get here. And then Professor Akram is usually who is in charge. She's wonderful, and she'll do icebreakers where we go around and meet each other and then talk about like what tools we're good with or what we want to do. So some like my friend John went there one year and he's a musician. So he sat up a table in the middle of everything, and then people would come up to him and be like, hey, I need this kind of sound. I need this. And then like other artists will get together and then they'll just be like, oh, we already have a 3D artist in this team, so I'll go to this team. Oh, they need 2D, so this person goes that. And then sometimes you can be on multiple teams. So if you for some reason don't feel like you're enjoying the team that you're on, you can always leave and be like, hey, I gotta go do something else. There's only been one time where there was someone there that was extremely toxic, and we were like, you gotta go. Other than that, usually it's pretty like they were like making fun of people and like like being like, oh, this is why you're so terrible. And like, it was like no. Yeah.
That kind of high school stuff.
Yeah. But usually everyone's really nice. So it starts around 5, and then Global Game Jam has given out a video. So if you want to the week of, you can look early and figure out what the theme is and stuff, or you can be excited and we'll play the video there and then get it with everyone else. But some people, they will find out when, because the jam starts like the week before or whatever, right?
Friday, January 26th.
That's when our jam starts, but it's
Oh,
like
the global game, that
the
starts the 22nd.
yeah, 22nd. So you'll find out the 22nd what it is, and then you might start already be working on something and then come in and be like, hey, can you help me do this or whatever? If you want to do it that way, you can.
Also, is there like a global theme then?
Yeah, so it's everyone finds out at the same time.
Okay.
What's
So some people will be starting project or is that not encouraged? Or
That's-
just do everything.
uh
I would assume you can do like the most basic work.
no, you can literally get like you have a week.
Yeah.
We just do it at the 48-hour point.
Mhm.
So like if you're like, hey, I want to get started and all that, you can. I find it the main goal is not the project, it's interacting with other people and trying to like make something that you wouldn't have been able to do on your own, and find other people that like whatever your weakness is. So like say you're really good at art, right? I mean, I've seen your art, but say are you good with music? Okay, so you find someone that's really good with music, they make sounds and then they add sounds to your animations or your drawings, and then you're able to do something way better than if you were just on your own. And so you having like, if you started early, then you have a starting point to be like, hey, I have this art, I have this, and that's like a jumping off point. But then you also run into the issue of like other people might not want to join in or whatever. Like it's a weird, we try to avoid like lunch table, like you can't sit with us. Like that's probably not gonna happen. So when you were bringing up the idea of like starting as soon as we find out the theme, what was in your mind? What were you
I guess just like thinking up ideas in your head, maybe just doing basic layout, like before you actually start programming or making art, basically just forming it in your head, I guess,
Mhm.
just to keep with the spirit of it.
What about you? What were you thinking when you were asked?
I was kind of just wondering like whether it was in the spirit of the event to start before.
Yeah, as soon as everyone finds out everything, it used to be only 48 hours and you would go to a site, but then we had during 2020 or 2021, they did all remote and stuff like that for those few years. So then it's turned into a week-long event where it's like try and just get it in whenever you guys can do it. And then the rule used to be Hawaii was always the last time zone to find out. And so you just didn't tell the theme before Hawaii found out. So you could get started as soon as you found out the theme, but you couldn't announce and be like, hey, here's this year's theme until Hawaii finds out, which I still think is the same rule. It's just that they start on,
Is it not all at the same time?
no, because it starts in one time zone and then it works its way. Also, it has to do with the servers because like you have a bunch of people in each time zone trying to upload. You don't want everyone trying to upload at the exact same time.
Yes, but-
And so,
Okay.
and you also have, I think it's only, your game can only be like a gigabyte big.
Okay.
And so like all your art and all that needs to like, if you're doing 3D art, it needs to like be able to squish it down.
Yeah.
So no Unity.
Oh, no, I've done 2 game jams in Unity. And I'm saying this as the person who's all about Unreal and stuff like that. And Unreal takes up way more space than Unity.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah. What about you? Did you have any questions at this point of things going on?
Yeah, we were kind of thinking we might just do a combo kind of tag team, but we've never done a game jam before.
Okay.
We were thinking like, oh, she does art and I do programming, so we'll piece something together. But I was curious, like it's like a whole weekend kind of event. Like what happens? Like I know what happens Friday now. What happens Saturday, Sunday?
Okay.
Yeah.
So usually what happens to me for I'll finish up Friday first.
Mhm.
Did you have any questions about
No, no,
Friday?
that is right.
Yeah, okay. Usually we kind of come up with ideas or we hear the theme and then we go get dinner. And then we've kind of already, if you already know people, we'll go get food and talk about it. But usually you'll go with your team. And then it's best to like go away and just you and your team talk about
Okay.
ideas. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then like we recommend setting up like a Discord that's like just a chat for all of you, not even like a whole thing. So here's Alvaro. Are you in game jam? I mean, are you game dev?
Yeah.
Come on over. We are recording though if you don't want to be on camera.
Safe spot.
Yeah, this right here's the safe
So-
spot too.
So there are 13 people signed up so far.
Alvaro, did you sign up yet? Game Jam? Yeah.
My computer isn't working.
Yeah. So like, so you'll sign up soon.
So, you know.
When you're there, you'll do that. There's also a group channel, and then she'll make other channels for us for the game jam each year. All right. So then usually Friday night, everything ends at like 11. Usually you want to have your idea of what you're going to try and do, and set up your GitHub and source. No, what do you call it? Not source code. Git. What's it when you're backing stuff up? Version control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever your version control is, if it's just we're going to do it all on one computer and have a USB and pass that around to everyone, like whatever
That's
it's going to be.
awful idea.
It is awful. Yeah, Dropbox. You can do that with 2 people. Like if you only have 1 programmer and like 3 artists, you could do Dropbox.
Switch from Git to Dropbox.
Yeah.
Small.
Just
Yeah.
off of GitHub.
Yeah.
Just sync it to that.
I've heard of a person doing game jam into Google Drive.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? Like say you're making a change, it just goes to everyone instantly,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then there's no changes. So then at some point, if it's possible, have something programmed and like you have at least a concept or you've taken a stab at whatever your idea is. Friday night, then you need to go to bed. Now you're going to see people that are like, "Oh, we stayed up the whole week." That is a terrible idea. We did it our first year. Don't do it. Like, also make sure you have all your drinks and snacks that you would want for the whole weekend.
It is fun to say.
It is fun, but your productivity. Okay, okay, but once you get past a certain point, start playing games or go hang out with other people.
Take a
like,
break,
Take a
yeah.
break, like, and then go to bed. But your goal is to, your goal should be to like be there by like 9 a.m. the next day, and join up with your team and try and get something done. Usually by Saturday around 1, if you guys are going to lunch and you don't have something that is somewhat playable and you're kind of nervous, you might want to scrap your idea and do something way similar. Also, I recommend not planning out like, oh, we're gonna do all these levels, we're gonna do this. Figure out one mechanic and just get that mechanic running.
Mhm.
If that mechanic's not running by like noon on Saturday, you're in trouble.
That's minimum viable product.
Yeah.
whole game
Now,
center.
can you still come out? Can you still figure stuff out? Yes, that's the whole reason. And noon is a good deciding factor. So if you have that working, that's great. But if you have one game loop by that time, then you're really golden of like, okay, the game starts, they're at this point in the map, and then they can make it here, and the mechanic works. You're technically done with the jam at that point. And then the rest of the jam is just polish it and make it look as cool as possible and as fun as possible. Don't worry about, oh, I want to do more levels or whatever. Just try and make it as fun as possible, as cool looking as possible from that point. If you want to do a bunch of levels and like that's the theme, like you're like, no, we're doing boxes and doing that, then go with it. The advice I'm giving you makes Daniel games. It doesn't make your game. So let that be a warning. Saturday night, if possible, if you have people that are remote on your team, be like, hey, dinner is at this time. Everyone meet up at this restaurant, or we're going to make sandwiches. We're going to do whatever. And you guys go meet up in one central location and then don't talk about your game, talk about other stuff, play video games, watch a movie. It doesn't matter, but like take a step away with your team. And if you've been fighting with your team, that is a good time to like say you're sorry and everyone gets better.
Keep telling them they're wrong.
No, don't do that. Okay, so Sunday, then go to bed that night, go to bed Saturday night, and then wake up Sunday morning. Actually, you should be showering every day. I know that sounds
We have to remind.
I have to remind people, but you need to. It doesn't matter.
I play some Smash Bros.
Yeah. Okay.
You a Smash player?
But I feel okay. I only do a quick side. That is someone's strategy. It's like, oh, if I stink, they're gonna lose.
It's psychological.
It's a strategy.
I mean, I play MTG without sleeves.
Yeah. Okay, so you wake up Sunday morning. You pretty much have until noon to wrap up whatever you're going to wrap up. And then around noon, you want to make sure they have a list on the website. I'll pull it up, but it's like you need a photo of your group. You need a logo for whatever your game is. You need the Git repository. You need a Google Drive or something, link that someone can easily download it. Or if you're just putting it on an itch page, then you need a link to the itch page, like whatever it could be. All of that needs to be like set up, ready, and the process of uploading. If you, let me upload the game and I need to change, I need to rewrite the description or whatever, you can do that. Like you can make changes, but you want to make sure you have at least something uploaded by noon. What is it? Is it 3 is usually the cutoff?
Yeah,
You got a
website
Game Maker
always
hat.
is busted and slow. So
No,
I was just saying the global game jam website where you're supposed to upload the game is always really slow because everyone in the
World.
world is uploading the file at the same time.
yeah.
So if you get a jump start on it, it's better.
Or just upload it 2 places, like before you upload to
Yeah.
the site. Yeah, the official site, put it on like Google Drive or Mediafire or something like that.
Yeah. And so then usually about 3, we start winding down. And we have is it 4 or 5 is usually whenever she shows everything off. Do you remember?
I thought it was earlier. I thought it was like
I
3.
think it is at like 3-ish. I think we upload everything by noon and then
Yeah.
we're showing everything off. You technically have until like 7 or 8 that night to get something uploaded if you want to fix something. But usually we're showing everything off at 3 and then we're home by 5. Some random notes in there that I would like to point out is take breaks every hour. And then especially on like Saturday afternoon, go around to other people's stuff and be like, do you need a tester? Do you need help? And just play other people's games and then have them look at you playing their game. Because then they'll be like, oh, this is way too hard. We need to make it easier real fast. And there's a good communication that happens that way. Other ones are bring your own snacks and drinks and just have them there. But if you can budget for it, plan on like, oh, we're going to go out to eat. We're going to go drive this place or walk this place. Chicken and the Wolf is the closest place to walk. And then Taco Bell. And what else is like?
There's a Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's,
There's
yeah.
a Burger King.
It's Burger King, Burger King.
There's a Coney Islander if you're feeling brave.
I know, right?
Actually, is the Taco Bueno still open?
I don't know.
Okay,
actually.
next, well, wherever there's also pizza.
Yeah,
Taco's done.
You guys just DoorDash things, I guess, right?
you can. So I recommend planning out if you have a budget, plan on you're gonna do that. If not, like people know, like, oh, because like I usually bring like sandwich stuff, but I bring like, oh, here's a loaf, here's this. So whoever's on the team is like, you want a sandwich? Like, we'll just hang out here. The other one is get enough sleep. If you stretch, if you're one of those people that gets up and stretches, I would still continue that. Don't be like, oh, I gotta barrel through this. In fact, and if you don't stretch, then you should definitely do it every couple hours. And you
You say calisthenics helps thinking more than anything else.
right. So that's the general like what's over. There's not like a prize or anything at the end. It's more you met a bunch of people and then well like Alvaro and I met one year and then we ended up going to GDC together and that was a fun trip. Elliot and I worked together and then we made another game. You know, you meet people and then like yeah, that's more about what Game Jam is hey, we're gonna have fun. Yeah, you make connections and not really a oh, this is a business networking thing. You actually become friends with the people.
Especially if you're not a programmer,
Mhm.
like it's a good idea to get on multiple projects. If
Mhm.
you are programming, and it's kind of tricky to be on multiple projects.
Mhm.
A little.
But like if you do any kind of art, music, whatever, like just say yes to not maybe not everybody, but like most art people, especially at the start, they have like nothing to do. And then they'll be in like 2 or 3 things. Where like one year, one of the guys just made music for like everyone's game, and it was great. Everyone had wonderful music. So yeah, that's I think the other thing. I don't know if I said there here. So
What are you guys when you're coming to the jam and you're like, this was my expectation or thinking, did anyone have any expectations or anything like that? Or
I don't know what to expect.
didn't know what to expect? Okay.
Kind of, I guess one thing would be how to say, like, how to have an effective advertisement while you're maybe working on an idea that you want to do in order to, like, get people interested in your idea would be a question of mine. So, like, you hear the theme, you got an idea, start talking to people, and then nobody else really seems to be down for your idea, but you want to, leave open somebody else to be part of it.
If you're leading you're like, this is my idea, I'm going with it, then you're just leading it. Other people will just be drawn to you eventually.
All right.
I haven't really seen it where they didn't. If
Like, I
you're
was
like,
wondering if we need a placard or something like, this is the project I'm working on.
yeah,
Description.
it's more so like you're in Unity, right?
Yeah.
So if you're like, I'm in Unity, I'm going to do this, I'm needing these people. If you say what you're needing out of the project, those people will show up. So if you're needing another programmer, then you need to say that. If you're needing artists and music and stuff, then say that. It's always a mismatch of who's going to show up and things like that. But you also have to be very clear on like, okay, this is what it looks like. And then I usually bring out Sketchbook and I'm like, this is what I'm thinking. It needs to look this way and move that. Even if it's like stick figures, you're still able to be like, oh, and then like within a few minutes, you're able to like, this is the whole idea.
are they? Because I can't remember if they did this every other year, but I remember the first year I did it. We had the theater where basically it'd be like, hey, you have 1 hour to brainstorm ideas, or maybe it was half an hour. But after they announced the theme, everybody kind of said, here's what I want to do, and then you get people. Or is there anything like that happening, or is it just like, okay, just talk?
I even want to say, well, a lot of people will already they're already teamed up. So like, I don't know what team, I try and go in there completely blank, and then whoever wants to just join me, and we'll just do whatever. That's usually, I mean, right in the, I wouldn't, or would, how would you, because you've done enough also, and then you, like, when you guys have joined teams, what if,
Typically, I like having at least I don't need my full team, but I like knowing like 1 or 2 people I can work with.
Yeah.
Or if I'm not working with people, I kind of like being the only programmer, or I want to know the other programmer. But as far as our stuff goes, like anybody, yeah.
what about you? When you,
Yeah, I mean, I tend to gravitate towards the people I already know, which I know the idea is to meet new people and to make new connections, but I don't know, that's my strategy.
there are certain people that they formed a team years ago, and then they come every year, and then, like, they all came not knowing each other, then they met each other there, and then now they only stay at the same team.
Like, I guess if I had to pick between, a dice toss of am I gonna hate myself and my team for the next 2 days because I joined up with a bad team and I don't gel with anybody, versus like I'll just go with people I already know and get the same experiences last year, I would rather do that.
Yeah, I agree. I try not to like be the person that comes up with the idea. I mean, I usually just like, oh, here's this. But usually what happens is there's an idea and then we draw it out and then there's like a thrashing period.
Mhm.
And then people think I came up with the idea and it was like, no, that was like 6 ideas and we just kind of cut the edges off and it made this new puzzle piece. So I recommend if you already have a game mechanic you were wanting to try out before you came to the event, like, I mean, do you have anything like that?
Not really.
Okay, so like we were talking about the full motion video.
Oh, I thought you were thinking of a different conversation.
No, but it's not full motion video. What's it called? Is that what it's called? When
Yeah,
it's
well, or quick time event games.
quick time again, but also, but what's the one where the video is actually playing like it's live
That's
action?
FMV.
FMV, yeah.
Twist it.
Like we were talking about one of those. So like we were like, okay, if we were gonna do an FMV, we're just going to like we need cameras. We're gonna do a test run and like just figure it out on the fly. And like that's the whole point
Sega
of the game
CD.
jam. Yeah, that's the whole point of the game jam is to just try something we've never done before. Blaine was here last month and he was like, oh, I want to do like a GTA game. And I was like, you should do like a pizza delivery game where it's just you figure out the driving mechanic. So like for him, that would be a really good game jam game to like try out a mechanic he hadn't tried.
Like GTA 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you guys are doing art, right? Did you want to?
Yeah, I don't have any ideas here.
Okay, but are you in 2D art or 3D?
Yeah, 2D.
Okay, so I would be like, hey, guys, I can do 2D art, so it's got to be a 2D game.
Mhm.
And then you tell people up front, and then they'll be like, okay, we have a 2D artist, so we're going to use that. You know, you do both. Is there one you're like, I'd rather do one and then the other?
Not particularly, I could do either. I guess it would just be the like level of detail that would be required for 3D modeling.
Mhm.
I would be a little concerned about how quickly I could create those models,
Mhm.
depending on how, like, what people are looking for.
Yeah.
I would assume it wouldn't be very.
You would want to tell them your limitations. Be like say you're like, I do 2D, but I only do charcoal painting or charcoal art.
That would be cool.
Yeah, you know,
Very-
it would look really cool.
Yeah.
So, but then that changes because then you're like, okay, we got to get scanners, we got to do this, like we got to get special papers. Like you have all the stuff to do it, then we just figure out a way to get that in there. Tell them what your limitations are. Like if you're doing, like, say, have you seen Thomas is Alone? Have you seen that game where it's like just squares
Mhm.
and stuff? Like if you did something like that, but you're like, okay, we're gonna do 3D, but you did the animation, so it's like it's just a bunch of cubes, but they're bouncy or whatever. You know, that's a different statement than if you're like, okay, we're gonna do a Zelda clone and we need a full R version of Link.
Yeah, it's
That
like
like
having a bipedal character moving around would be like a 3D project on its own.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can also use other assets. So if there was like,
Or with the Kenny asset, pushing that goes
Right.
free. Not to
what are you
cover
doing
it.
2D or does he have 3D?
He has both. So he
Oh.
has isometric 2D and 3D models.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the full pack that he had on for free one day on
Nice.
Itch.
Also, AI art is a thing now,
Yeah.
like especially
Gonna ask that.
it's come along far enough that you can use it to generate game assets, like even pixel art, which it wasn't good at first, but now they've got mods and stuff that will do pixel art AI generated.
Allowed.
I don't know if the AI. Oh, I don't know if Game Jam is. Cool with
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, a global game jam might not allow it, but
Yeah.
in general, yeah, it's totally legal.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But here.
I don't know how hard would it be to train a model real fast.
You don't have to. There's,
Like, you could
there's
be-
tons of models out there.
Well, no, I mean like feed a model, like you have an artist on your team, and the that could assist the artist in making additional assets.
I think that you'd need too much time.
That would take too much time.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
not for a 48-hour game jam.
Yeah.
Um,
It'd be nice if we could make that faster.
the going in there and being able to tell them like, okay, these are the limitations and all that. I highly recommend that. The other issue you might run into is you might be the only artist, and so you have to be like, I can get like, how long does it take to do if you guys did pixel art? If you had to do, there's a big difference between doing like a 16 by 16 piece of art and then doing like a 32 by 32. You know, so if you're like, hey, we're doing if someone says we're doing a platformer, you need to do a character, like you might be doing just the character and then someone else needs to do backgrounds and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But if you're doing 3D, I would focus just on like the main character
Mhm.
of like whatever you're going to be interacting with, and then use stock assets for now, And then if you can, start replacing stuff and be like, oh, well, I want this different. I
Yeah.
want that different. Or I'm going to change these materials or whatever.
Like just use stock assets to get the basic foundation of the game. Then if you have time and if you really don't like how the stock assets look with your game, then go ahead and start working on games replaced with what you want.
What about like as far as the length of time and all of that to get stuff done? Does anyone have like any concern of like, okay, it's 48 hours. What do you think you can actually get done in 48 hours? Like, do you guys have, like, if you were to sit down and be like, if you're programming, I'm just going to pick on you real fast.
Yeah.
You have 48 hours. What do you think you can actually get done in a 48-hour period?
I haven't done a games yet, but I've challenged myself to make a game in a week before, and I thought it was super simple. And so
That was
probably
just-
something. I mean, I'm gonna make it super simple. Like,
Yeah.
You keep in mind though that you can keep like basic scripts like menu selection systems and stuff like that. You can utilize the pre-existing script like that.
Yeah, I was wondering what kind of rules were, because most of my programming experience, I have followed tutorials into actual C# shit and in Unity, but most of my programming experience is through an asset like a framework that does no code, like node-based stuff. Like that's all kosher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use literally anything. Like if you have, I've copied code from old game projects that I have that no one else could access to work on things before. Like
I don't.
I don't think there's any rules where it's like, oh well, you didn't type this yourself or anything like that.
I'm pretty sure you can just start, like, you just download a template off one of the stores and just keep working from there and be like, well, that's what I made. Because that was the whole point of buying that template. It's you made your game with it.
Start with like one of the demo templates.
You can, I mean, we did the one year, Alvaro and I did a game with pipes, and
Yes.
it was, everyone said it looked really good.
It didn't work well. I was trying to learn Unreal.
Oh yeah, don't pick a game engine that you don't already know.
Mhm.
That's you may have already said that before.
At least for your first.
I did, and then I said for your first one, but I was like, once you've been there so many years, then you should join up on other teams that use the other tools.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be driving the bus
Yeah, you
as,
should be
as
doing
an
that.
as a programmer with an engine that you don't know.
Don't do that. No, not drive the bus. But like just hopping around, like we were like, oh, we're gonna do game maker. I was like, okay, more than that.
Are there any engine limitations? Like, can I make a game on Excel and submit it? Or like,
I mean,
Probably
technically,
could.
it just depends on, it needs an executable.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you
Which
can
would just be a
compile it and
spreadsheet.
upload it.
Yeah, so as long as you can compile it and upload it.
I made a game in DOS.
That's allowed. There's DOSBox.
Yeah.
Pygame. That's also you can run a shell inside of a Pygame to then run no DOS.
What's the one that spits out the PNGs of the game? Pico 8.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there are people that did Pico 8. It's basically like its own version of like a 8-bit Nintendo,
Mhm.
and then you send your games that way.
Okay.
So, but Richard, his second year there, he was learning Pico 8, and then he found someone that already knew Pico 8, and then he was like, okay, I'll hang out with you, and then they
Yeah, that's a
together.
good strategy.
So you can do that. Like if you kind of already know, but I mean, you already know Unity to a good extent. Now at TU, like there's people that are going for their Unity certifications and stuff like that. So you're in a weird spot of like, oh, you may know this more than me, but I know this more than you, but we're also both the same level because neither of you have shipped a game commercially.
Right.
So it's like a weird area like that.
They're also going to be better at Unity. Like at least for me, if you program normally for like a job, they all know Unity better than you do. And like I probably know C# coding better than they do because I've been doing that for way longer than they have. So just like you're going to learn things from them because unfortunately Unity is improving every day and I'm not ready to every day or whatever engine you work.
Yeah.
So
Is there a rule for like what kind of devices we should bring? Like, would just laptops would be good enough? Could we bring our entire desktops? And
You can bring your desktop.
So the quick answer to that is you can bring whatever you feel you need. You just have to, do you want to leave it overnight is the thing.
You don't have to steal it.
You don't have to, but I did. I was like, I'm bringing this desktop up once and I'm taking it home once. So I brought it up Friday and then it stayed there till Sunday when we took it home. I now have a laptop, so that changes things.
Yeah.
But I thought you were talking about like, oh, I'm going to build it and it's going to be an Android game. It's gonna
No. I meant like
uh,
for what equipment we're going to bring that we're going to work off of.
so
Like bring in my own desktop, my own monitor, just so I'm not working off this.
You can bring all of that. There is limited space.
Okay.
So people, you want to get it. Oh, that's another thing. As soon as you get a team, go find where you guys want to make your home base, because you're going to be in that zone for the rest of the weekend.
Until you die.
Yeah, and on the upstairs, there's like a hidden area, not hidden, but it has like, you can go in there, but it's like everyone, as soon as someone talks, it echoes. We were in there last year.
I like that area.
I liked part of it, but all like half the time we'd be like, okay, what about this? What about that? And then they'd be like, quiet, we need to record. And they need to record, so it's not like I'm upset, but it was like there'd be like, okay,
Were
where
they
is
not prepared for this?
no, they literally had their mics and a whole setup. Like they were just doing sound effects right there.
I still get a sound set. I maybe use it with their things too.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah.
So it was cool, but it was like, okay, you're trying, like you don't, whereas the people that were just in a hallway that just got some tables, no one bothered them the entire time. They just, got to keep going and stuff. I mean, those are only a few moments. So it just depends on like how close you want to be to other people and stuff like that. Also, like what chair, there's limited chairs and we have to put everything back.
Chairs there are better.
Yeah, chairs were nicer.
The hallway chairs.
Okay, I'm gonna totally go off subject, but I bought a fancy
Gamer chair?
No, a fancy office chair for larger people, and got the little armrest things, like added cushions and stuff like that. And now I have no back pains or any of those. And so I was like, I thought it was just my weight, but it turns out it was the chair the whole time. So I was glad about that. So if you want to bring your own chair from home, you can do that also if you feel so.
I'd let him bring a camping chair.
Right.
So comfy, I can just be like this.
Who needs internet access to stuff? Like if you're software, like if you're on Photoshop, do you have to have internet access the whole time, or can anyone be like kind of off? Okay. Are you up to date on all your software and stuff like that? You want to make sure like, oh, I hit this button and, because we were trying to figure out, we did Unity last year.
That wasn't
It
terrible.
wasn't terrible. We had to figure out what version we wanted to be on.
Yeah, we had that all straightened out that evening
We're
before.
able to do that pretty quick. I think the one thing is my computer couldn't connect to the Wi-Fi, so
Yeah.
I was hotspotting from my phone.
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, trying to download.
It just got real. Like my phone got really hot.
Yeah. And then, but like downloading your whole engine.
You
while
should
the jam. You should
kind of have an idea in mind of like how long that's going to take if you don't have it with you.
because
Just,
like
just plan for that.
Because also, if you don't know what your team is, you might be on a different
Yeah,
team. You
yeah.
can't really control that. I mean, obviously for Photoshop, that's not as much of a deal, but for game engine.
yeah. And also, if you guys are doing art, I would do a workflow where you export something and give it to them and make sure like if you're doing 3D, I'd be like, here's this with a bunch of, textures and stuff like that. Did it work? Does it look right? Is it, is everything going correct? Because there'll be weird stuff like that. And it's better to have that like figured out ahead of time.
Don't wait till Sunday morning to start importing all the art.
Yeah. I would come up with your system of like, okay, this is how we're gonna get stuff in. If you're doing 2D, are you doing digital 2D or are you doing like drawing?
Digital.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So you're not worried about like, oh, we got to go get this drawing and then scan it in or something.
I think you don't decide the pipeline.
Do what?
Sorry, I was mean this is talking a lot, but I imagine 3D would be a nightmare if you don't decide like what pipeline you're doing, like specifically with Unity. You have to decide on like a high fidelity pipeline or a normal pipeline in terms of like your shaders and stuff like that.
Pretty sure. I mean, you only have like a gigabyte of size.
That's true.
So I would go whatever the lowest settings of anything.
Yeah, we ran into that problem last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to update my GitHub repo to higher.
Like the
storage.
first 3D model we put in the repo was bigger than a gigabyte.
Yeah. Yeah.
They must have like the videos.
Yeah, we had videos.
Oh,
So what we ended up doing was we got everything working, and then the repo was just huge, but the actual finished project was under because we got everything down in size, but it still keeps all of those versions. So we got everything done, transferred it all to a different Git repo, And then once it was all good and we were all able to sync up with that one, then we wiped the old one and then no one just touched the new one, so it didn't go up in price. And so it's sitting there like right at the amount that you can have.
Skirting the edge.
Yeah. So question time. Does anyone have any, like, when you were coming in here, did you have questions or do you feel like they've been answered or?
Is it at Razor again?
Yeah,
On
Razor
TU.
Hall, that's you. Oh, parking.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll get to Razor Hall and then there's gonna be a big parking lot next to it. You can't park there. You gotta, there'll be another one and there'll be these signs. Usually they're like Lego brick looking stuff of different colors. And it says, does it say CSGC?
I think
or does it say
it's either
Game Jam?
CSGC or Global Game
Yeah,
Jam.
they use the CSGC, which is the Computer Science and Gaming Technology Conference banners. So those will be off. I want to say it's Jackson Commons is the area, right?
It's in front of the Performing Arts Center
Yeah.
is where you
Either
usually
in
can
front
park.
or you can park next to the sorority houses.
Yeah. And then on one of the nights, there's going to be some form of sporting event. And then you'll go there and they'll be like, you can't park here. And you'll be like, you'll point to the sign and be like, we're here for this event and that's in that building. And we were supposed to report here. And then they'll be like, oh, okay, cool. But they'll be mean at first. But just be like, no, we're at this event, not that one. And then no one will get upset.
To you, that's north of here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then trying to think.
You'll figure it out, I guess.
I guess most people's concern is like coming up with an idea, right? Is that your biggest concern? Okay, so tiny
Things small.
idea.
Yeah.
Don't. This isn't. You're not making your dream game this weekend. You're testing. Think of it more as like you're seeing how much you can lift. I don't have like a.
Yeah.
Like you're testing your strength.
And that's a very good apropos
Yeah.
way of saying it. It's the mental.
I think the one we made for reference, this game, which was just a couple mini games with basically one basic mechanic per minute game, took literally 30 seconds to beat. And like people, that's kind of an extreme example on the short side, I would say. But like the simpler the game loop, the more you just want to refine it. Because if you really like it, you want to make it better later, you can do that. But if it feels like crap and it's 2 hours long versus it feels good and it's only 30 seconds long, you want the good 30 seconds.
Yeah, agreed.
Do you have anything? You were about to say something. I thought.
I was just gonna say, like, whatever you think you can do in 48 hours, cut that in half, and that's probably about the right length for your game. Because stuff will go wrong and things will take longer than you think to finish.
So now there are ideas. Like, have you guys played a game called Super Hot or seen Super Hot?
Yes.
Okay, so like that was made at a game jam originally, like the concept and all of it.
I think Celeste was.
Celeste was a game jam. There's a few others that were like famous games that the initial idea was from a game jam, and they were like, "Oh, how can we do this?" or whatever. If you're going for one of those games where you're like, "Okay, we're gonna do something we haven't seen before," like just go for it. And if you crash and burn, that's cool. You at least tried. But don't feel bad if like you're going for something, you're like, how do we do this? And then you spend the whole weekend and like you don't get any art done, you don't get anything, but then by the last hour, you're like, oh, we got this one thing to work. That's okay also. Like, don't feel bad if you don't get, oh, we didn't get all this in or we didn't get all that in or whatever. Usually when I'm on a team, we go for something smaller, but we go around and ask everyone like what they're wanting in the game and try and get one thing that they were doing. So like if you're art, you're like, I wanted to get some art in there of whatever. Because it may be like you do the main character, but like all the UI, you do something different. Or if you're doing 3D, like you're like, hey, we need the main character, or we're drawing a mountain, so we need to do the landscape, and that landscape is the only thing. So you want to, whoever's on the team, they need at least have one brick they put in that wall of that building. That's usually what.
We do have a question in the chat.
Oh, we got a question chat.
Oh,
Elliot,
I was just.
what is it, game jam? Some
Oh.
kind of food. Nice. You found it. It's not. It's experience.
So how many people showed up there last year?
25.
Okay. So it's not like
It's usually
huge,
pretty.
but-
I mean, that's
Yeah.
huge. Tulsa huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And out of those 25 people, how many groups were there?
You were like 6 or 7.
I think that's 6 or 7. We also did remote stuff.
Okay.
So like some people did remote. I don't recommend remote in the sense of, like say you have a desktop. Like Adrian did the remote the best way, I think, where he was like, he would still come to meals and things like that, where we were like hanging out as a group. But then when it came time to work, he was like, okay, my desktop's here. I'm going to go there and
Mhm.
get a bunch done on my desktop because it's all my software's there. I don't have to move anything around.
Yeah, if
So-
you can, it's more fun to treat it like a big sleepover where you're just there with snacks and you're there to hang out with your friends.
Yeah.
Rough it in, as it were.
I would bring snacks to share with your groups.
Yeah.
If you like Oreos, just bring a bunch of Oreos, or whatever.
Great conversation.
Yeah. Also don't bring like a game that's like takes forever, but like some form of multiplayer game that's really fun. Like,
I
have you
bring
guys
my
played?
Xbox.
Yeah, like
Halo 2.
Jackbox.
Jackbox is good.
Jackbox is great.
Snipper Clippers, we played that one on the Switch. Yeah, that's a good one to play because it's easy to play and like
On Switch.
yeah, 1-2 switch, like stuff like that. That like you can do like a 10 to 15 minute break and have fun. Like
Actually, that'd be hilarious to like have a disagreement and then use the dueling on the 1-2 switch to like decide whose idea you're gonna go with.
Right.
Settle this and
Settle this the old fashioned way.
settle it in Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball.
I haven't thought about that game in years. Sorry. Because what I hated about like when you're a kid, like I was a kid when that came out, and you're drawn to one aspect of the game, but then yeah, well no, and then we started playing the volleyball, and then it like got competitive. It was like no, I'm gonna do
Yeah,
better.
because it's so simple.
Yeah,
Like there's like 2 buttons. You move around, you press B to hit it back. That's all it is.
yeah, but there was enough there that it was like okay,
Yeah.
who can be the best?
Feel that way
Like
about the
that-
Yakuza series.
Right. Trying to think what other random events. The bad, like, there's a very bad thing. I mean, it's very rarely something bad happens. Usually it's someone who bites off more than they can chew gets really stressed out and they think they're really great at something and then they're put to their limits and it turns out they're not. Or you come up with an idea and it's like, I really want this to happen. And everyone is like slamming their heads up against the wall trying to figure out how to make it happen. Because we did our first year. Okay, so we didn't have like one of these preliminary meetings or anything like that. What we did was we all got in a room at a dance studio over here. And so it was a black room with a bunch of mirrors. It was really weird, but it had a bunch of soundproof stuff because I guess they play a bunch of sound room. So like I would be like as loud as I'm talking, there's no echo or anything. It was really weird. But none of us have made a game, and then there were 2 people that had made a game. So Eric was one person, Eric with an A. And then
I'm like, wait, it's not-
well, you know Eric with
Yeah,
an
I
A.
know.
Yeah. And then some other people, they were like, oh, we're gonna do a game. And then this other person who made a game, they did that. But all the people that didn't make it, have never made a game or touched one, all got in one group. So there was like 15 of us. And basically 2 people were programmers. One was Charles. I don't know if you remember Charles. Yeah, but the goal was we wanted to do golf, but you played as the ground and you had to move the ground to get the ball going. And so it took us forever to figure out like, okay, if you're technically this material, you need to move like that. It needs to move according and then move the ball around. And then you try and get into the goal. And so the goal was you're the ground and you're trying to get the ball that way. But you're also like, because it's rounded and the ball's rounded, like you have to like keep going back and pushing in different ways. And then we made a bunch of severed unicorn heads fall down because it was our first game jam and we didn't know what to build or what to do. But that took us, we stayed up till like 3 a.m. and we brought you can bring blankets and stuff. My goal is 1 year, have a bunch of money and we rent out a ballroom at a hotel and then we bring a bunch of blankets and stuff like that and literally just stay in the one ballroom the whole 48 hours and it's like a lock-in and try and get everything done and like all the food, there's just food brought in every so many hours, but that's a whole different event.
And then it turned into a murder mystery.
Yeah, all right.
I was thinking of the monkeys typewriters.
But we stayed up, my friend Life and I, we stayed up and till like 3 a.m. trying to figure stuff out, and then woke up at like 5 a.m. We had 2 hours of sleep, and then nothing else was happening. So we went back. I went back to bed. Someone else brought their own mattress in their van, and they were sleeping in their van. And I was like, you could have just gone home, and it would have been better.
I'm here for the whole weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so I've done enough of my spiel. What about you? Would you like to talk about your first game jam, and then Alvaro, would you like to talk about your first game jam? Would you want to go first? A global game jam.
Global game. Well, that was my first game jam. I mean, it was a good experience. I think we might have underscoped our game because we were done after 24 hours, and then we were just kind of twiddling our thumbs for the rest of it because we didn't want to add anything else because, we didn't want to break it. Yeah, basically, it's like, okay, it's good, don't touch it. Yeah, no, I mean, I've had a positive experience. I've only done it twice, and I haven't had any major team blow-ups or fallings out with people or anything like that.
Mhm.
I think the main thing is to just show up, wanting to have fun and be flexible and, be a team player. Don't, like you said earlier, this isn't your dream game. So, just show up to make something, don't put too much of yourself in it, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess for me, what was the first? The first one was the laser. That's like the best game I've made actually. So we did. Yeah, I think so. We had a group. It was basically, I think, me and actually Eric, you mentioned already, and then another guy that honestly it's kind of the flip side of what I do now, where he had come and he knew C#, he did it for his job, but he had never worked in Unity before. Because he was asking like, oh, how do you make tests? And I was like, what's a test? So we had that running. And for that one, I want to say our team total probably had like 10 or so people. But I guess that's the thing too, is there's a lot of overlap between teams. At least at that one there was, and most of the ones I've done. I would say the last one we did probably had the least overlap of any group I've had actually. It was just the 4 of us, and you didn't grab random people to help you. But I guess the big takeaways were, so we worked on a puzzle game. I had the basic mechanic kind of planned out where it was like you're bouncing, you shoot light, it bounces off of mirrors, whatever. And then that was actually really nice for iterating on because we would get a level done. Be like, cool, this works. And then each of us would work on separate levels. So the 2 developers would be adding a feature, make a level, add the next feature. And then that made it so that in Unity, the way version control works, if you're both working on the same level, everything will break and you're going to have a terrible time.
Yep.
So we could basically work on separate scenes, and then afterwards we could argue about what order they should be in, but it didn't matter. So going from that, I guess instead of just like having a small scope being like, this is our one mechanic, it was like, okay, here's the core of the game. And then we can kind of spiral out. So by the end of it, I think we had like 7 or 10 levels. And then we started just playing with level, which anybody could do the level design. Once we had the code was actually really good for hackathon code. So it's still not great, but you could like build off of it pretty well. So I guess that was the big takeaway, especially when working with people, you have to write better code than you want to write. And then just, having like the little nugget of the game, I think is good. And also then I think I was mostly working with, I knew the one guy already from college, but I think everyone else in that whole team was new. And that was actually kind of helpful because it sort of, I mean, I didn't know any artists beforehand, so it kind of forced me to like get people to help, which is good. And I think, the more people you can get to work with you, the better. If you're programming and you need help, walk around and ask for help because there's probably someone that can solve that problem, and now you have someone that's helping you out. Or,
Be sure and credit that person. Like, be like, oh, this person helped out, and put them in the credits.
And like no one's really competing against each other.
No.
Yeah.
yourself.
You'll probably make something better than me. I'm not even.
Bottom of the computer.
They should do a global ranking though of like all the game jams
Well,
that.
don't you like
get
vote
uploaded.
on it afterwards, like on their website? Like,
Yeah, you can like stuff, but they don't get ranked against each other.
okay, but there's still be one that would be most liked.
Yeah.
But I think it requires like a third person like going through and divvying out, oh, this one was really liked, and having to go down the list basically.
Okay.
For you artists, Eric Lee said he might join, and he is hands down the best 3D artist in the state. So hopefully he actually does show up, and then you guys can meet Eric and like work on his team.
Has he worked on anything big? Or?
Yeah, like do My Little Pony to Transformers, anything at Hasbro.
Okay.
He's touched Star Wars, like he's been on a bunch of stuff. So, but he's coming. He's like, yeah, I want to do a jam. So, like, since you guys are artists, like, I would join whatever his team is. I know you guys are going to do your own thing, but at least hang out with him a little bit.
Okay.
Does anyone do like music?
No.
No, I
Elliot does.
I can do music.
Elliot does, and
I
Tim's
just
on
wanna,
it.
well, I have all the music stuff because I got that from that. I'm good actually using the dog, and so actually there was a team did all their own music. So they had one guy that used to program and he was like, I'm sick of coding, I'm doing music, and so he did all the music in 2 days and he came back. It was actually great.
I had music theory and I could play a lot of instruments.
So good.
I hadn't written anything.
Okay.
I could play.
I mean, I've dabbled with like LMS for years, but
You can also use like remade stuff, like if it's royalty free or whatever.
Yeah.
But like if you're just like, I need to get this game done, you're not trying to get your game perfect, you're trying to get it done. So like, even if you're like, okay, we're gonna do this in temp stuff, you want to at least get in temp stuff.
Take the Home Depot thing and put it in an underwater reggae.
Yeah.
I wouldn't don't take other people's assets. So jumping in here, if you guys we were gonna form teams right now and make something. Does anyone know, like, okay, I know these tools and I like this sort of thing and I want to do that? You want to start? I'm gonna pick on Albert.
I basically know Unity. If you throw Godot at me, I'll probably figure it out again because I've learned it before. And that's pretty much it. I prefer working in 2D. I've done 3D before, but I never like feel great about how it looks. So
Are you gonna do the rollerball again?
did I? Oh yeah, that's right. Because that was the secret level.
Yeah,
game. I
from
made a
last year.
rollerball tutorial. Did other things too, like
Like the
do
movie
more than
rollerball? No.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just Unity and code. I can write lots of code.
Well, I'm hoping to just do some Ace projects and stuff. I can use Photoshop, it just takes me longer and I'm a perfectionist, so some stuff, it's just easier for me. But yeah,
I don't even know where to start because I've been doing the programming for my game that I've been working on for like 3 years, but it's all been in a no code engine that nobody else has used. Like nobody uses the org framework for Unity or whatever. But I know Unity pretty well because of this game. I know like low poly 3D modeling pretty well. So if somebody was doing like a low poly thing, like had to animate a lot of animals. I don't know what I would do with something with 2 legs, but by golly, if you want an animal, I could animate 2 legs.
yeah,
And yeah, no, just all the little random shit that you need to do to put a game together. So like, I know Photoshop and stuff because of my day job, but yeah, that's probably where I'm at.
I'm also an all-rounder. I have experience in Unity and GameMaker and a little tiny bit in CryEngine, if you want to be very ostentatious.
I don't think anyone is in CryEngine. No, someone messaged.
Yeah. All-rounder. I can model, I can draw, I can make sounds. I can format MP3s to the best of them. Yeah, just I've made a couple of small games and to completion, so all-rounder.
If you're gonna pick an engine, which one would you be like? I'm doing.
I'm most confident in Unity. I wouldn't mind picking up and doing some more Game Maker. I found it very enjoyable to work in last time, and CryEngine is CryEngine.
But it looks so good.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I've kind of touched everything. I'm a programmer, and Game Maker is kind of where I've camped out lately. but I do 2D art, and that includes pixel and hand drawn. And I've also done 3D art and done music, and I think that covers it, I guess.
Translations also. No, we're doing that.
Yeah, I know how to internationalize games. I couldn't translate it by hand or anything, but
All right, so I would say I'm a bad programmer, but I pretty much know every part of Unreal to like jump in and be like, oh, I'm doing this or here's that. But that's the main thing. And then the other one is sound effects. Like I have my mic and stuff like that. So we'll do sound effects too. I can't do music, but I also have like a royalty-free thing that I pay for. So usually we just do end up doing music in that. But I would say my strongest is just getting something made in Unreal. So there you go.
Yeah, so probably the only thing I've worked with of value is Godot. Before that, I worked with Stencil for some reason because I was click and drag. It was too stupid. I can do like basic pixel work in Libre Sprite, which is like Aseprite, but only slightly different. We used to mess around a lot with LMS for music and sound and things like that. So he says he's not a good programmer. Imagine him, but worse, and you get me. So yeah, now that I'm saying this out loud, I'm not sure what I actually can contribute.
That's what a game jam is for.
I guess, yeah.
You the whole idea is you meet up with other people that fill in your gaps.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, if I had
I
to-
hope you fill in your gaps.
If I had to pick one, I would say probably just music because it works probably independently of all the others. Just give me an idea, give me what this level is, what that is, then I can work with that.
Well, I can do 2D illustration, 2D animation, 3D modeling, and 3D animation, although I'm not sure how much of that I really get done this time. Mostly I've worked with putting 3D models into Unreal, so that's the only engine that I really have any experience with, and doing some level design. So I can test things in Unreal Engine, blueprints if necessary. And then mostly I just use Photoshop, a few other 2D programs, Blender, but I'm not comfortable with Maya.
Are you up to date on your licenses and stuff like that? Okay, because that would suck. Oh no, I gotta renew.
You got a license for that.
Kind of wonder if like maybe having a card would be a good idea of like these are the things I'm strongest in and these are the things I want to try. I mean, granted, you're gonna have that conversation, but it could
Yeah.
like if you have like it's just a cluster of people trying to find people, then you could be like, I'll talk to somebody, hand someone a card.
last year they had a whiteboard where you could write down your skills.
Oh, kind of like a quest board.
I don't know the quest board.
Oh, like a seeking blah 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 blah, or like a person seeking team set skills.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Typically, just every time I've worked with something and I've needed people, I'm like, I'm a programmer, I need an artist, and what kind of artist? I'm like, okay, can you work in Unity? Cool. Then like everything else, we'll figure it out, right? Okay, 2D, 3D, whatever. We'll
Yeah.
switch back.
I can't remember if they did this last year, but the first year I did it, people went off and talked for 15, 20 minutes, and then they came back and pitched their idea to the group at large and said, here's who we've already got on our team. This is who we're looking for. I don't know. Did they do that last year?
Yes, I don't like each time it's been different.
Yeah,
Or
because I
it's showed
remember
up
doing
late.
that for Time Toggle, but not for the WarioWare game we did last year. I don't remember pitching it to anybody. I think
We
we just went off and started working.
Well, last year was different because you and I were like, okay, let's just have fun. And then Alvaro was like, you want to hang out? And then Adrian was going to be there. We're like, okay, so we already have like the makings of a team. Let's go do that. And like, we just basically, as soon as they said the idea, we didn't even go over the ideas. We went and got the space that we wanted. And then we got dinner and then talked about the ideas over dinner. And I think that's where we kind of came up with everything.
The first year I did it, there were no formal artists on our team. It was just people pitching in art. So it's like, even if that's not your forte, it's like, you'd be surprised what you can come up with. And, especially with, you're in this limited space where, you kind of just have to use whatever you have at your disposal, whether it's your phone or your, equipment that you brought or whatever. But, you're kind of, that limitation kind of forces creativity out of people.
Yeah. I forced my sister to go to the year we did Time Toggle.
Mhm.
And then she was like, oh, she has a background in like art and stuff like that. And then she did it and it seemed like she had a blast and she did a bunch of pixel art.
Mhm.
But also anytime she's like, oh, well, you know, game developers, she does. I mean, oh, you mean your people? Because you're a game developer.
Your people.
Yeah. Those are your people now.
I think I convinced Isabella to come this year.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Does she know what she wants to do?
No.
She's really good at crocheting. So
Yeah. We might be able to like take pictures. It
Yeah,
might be like
dude.
a Yoshi's Woolly
Yoshi's
World.
Woolly
Yeah. So
That actually is very that like little you could do little stop motion to like then have a PNG slides on it.
Full stop motion done with just fabric,
Mhm.
like just to creating the scenes and the different objects.
Yeah.
do you know what it was, or was it just like a fun thing?
If I could find it, then
Right.
I'd show you.
Uh,
But it was like a stop motion. Obviously not a game, but they were interesting because they were so small as well that I can't imagine how
Hmm.
much like fidelity we need
Mhm.
to creating all
Yeah.
those. It was like just using like fuzz, but in stop motion to create like liquids. And
Okay.
then we have physical
Wow.
like objects like bolts.
I'm thinking of what was it called? The one claymation game.
The Neighborhood.
Neighborhood, yeah.
I
Well, there was that. There was another one. Is that
Spell Monkeys.
no?
Yeah.
Armicrog.
I mean, yeah, all of this. Elliot's not wrong.
I've got the whole
It's just not the one you're looking for.
Okay, no, there was one. That one weird guy. He was like yellow with like the red body, and then there was shit. What's it called?
Yeah.
That was gonna bother me. Right.
You're right on all of those being
Video.
claymation
Yeah.
games, though. I remember those.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yoshi's Woolly World is the only thing I can think of that was
But-
kind of similar like that.
Yeah, but that was a 3D models that rendered to look like that.
Yeah.
rather
Wasn't
than-
Samaroost claymation or is it digital art?
Samaros?
Samarost. Do you remember that game? It's like a
No.
environment puzzle game. Might have been hand drawn. I might be remembering wrong.
There's a really great game called Lumo City. That one was all paper. Like they took a bunch of paper and like they just scanned everything in and then did it that way.
Yeah, I've been following this developer that's been making a game. I say follow him. I still read it sometimes, but he makes it. He like draws it on paper, but he draws them like boxes, and then he like literally folds like they would be a box or whatever. These little box people.
Like a little paper curve.
Yeah, he like draws out like the template, like you would if you're drawing marketing materials for like a can or whatever. You draw out the whole
Mhm.
thing, and then they print it out and put it on there. But he would just do that and scan it, and then like draw through the lines on Photoshop and like pin the mesh together so it looked like little paper people. And then
I mean, that's
animate
what
whatever.
the mapping
It was
is.
the-
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it is all like
That's
they're
really
like
cool.
cardboard people, and he would just draw them on cardboard and like take a picture and put it in Photoshop, and then yeah.
So did he have his
Yes.
own template made so he knew like, okay, these are all the right dimensions and stuff like that? They would scan it, or did he like?
I guess so. I just see his like gifs of his process on Reddit or whatever.
That's
But he draws out like I don't know. I guess play like Dungeon Dice Monsters or whatever the shit back in the day where the dice would be like it makes a T because it all
Yeah.
folds into a box. He basically does that but for his characters
That's
and draws on each side, and then yeah.
That's good.
What are you? Because you said it was basically still a 3D model, effectively.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he draws it.
I'm not
2D.
like it is. It's set in real life, or like I, you know, an IRL. He like
Yeah, you
prints
could
it
just
out.
take a piece of paper and he'd draw like if he was making a cube, then he'd draw like 4 squares in a row with 2 squares on the side or
Right.
whatever, and then he'd draw the little face on each cube or whatever he wants on each side, and then whenever he puts it into
So, but-
whatever inch he would bend it at the meshes or whatever to create a cube. So
Yeah.
he's making 3D he's making 3D.
Yeah, that was the thing I was wondering.
Yeah,
Is like,
like
how did he
3D art.
simplify? How did he simplify the vertex of the additional tabs?
Mhm.
What that was whatever that was.
I mean, I'm assuming he has like this scan. He like did trial and error until he figured it out.
I mean, true, but yeah, I just feel like it would be extra geometry floating around in there if he didn't clean it up very well.
Did you guys ever see the game Tearaway? So the whole game is built what looks like construction paper. So it's only one material, and they just change out the color of whatever color they're needing. But they were able to manipulate the actual paper in it and draw whatever they wanted. And so the name of the tool that they built for it was called their cutting edge technology because it's all different cut edges.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's great.
It wasn't like the smallest problems in Starfield with like 50,000 vertices or something like that.
But if you want to make a 2D game, I feel like you can do it, right? You can take pictures or whatever, as long as you toss in Photoshop and make the background generator and then use the sprites.
What's the Ubisoft one where it's like a fairy girl RPG?
Child of Light.
Child of Light. Yeah. So what they did in that one, they got like the industrial scanners,
Mhm.
and they would paint watercolors. Like, okay, this is gonna be the background. Then they would scan that in and then
Yeah.
just put that in as a, whatever the sprite was. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's the background.
It was a beautiful game.
Yeah. So the whole game was just watercolor.
Yeah,
Everything.
I think they did the same thing with Cuphead. Like they actually like,
hand drew.
they
everything.
hand
Yeah.
I think, and also
They better put Steamboat Willie in there now. That
Yes, that'd be great.
he needs to be a boss.
Yeah.
Steamboat Willie and Smash.
Yeah. Well, there was another one specifically that was really cool mixed medium. Fancy Pants.
And
Oh, that was great.
Fancy Pants was yeah.
Flash game.
No, he said he hadn't played it.
Oh, yeah, that's
that was
also
my
surprising.
reaction.
It's a flash game. I believe they've converted it to HTML5, so you can still find it.
And they make like 5 of them or something.
They made one, and then they made Fancy Pants Adventure, which was the fully realized game. Because the first one was a game jam game
Okay.
that they were just trying to play with drawn platforms and animation interaction with platform climbing. It was a very specific thing. There's actually like a breakdown on YouTube about it.
I played this.
Never beat it because I just got lost.
Yeah, but that one is also I'm pretty sure that was originally done on paper. I don't know about fancy like the character itself, but I know the backgrounds are all paper design.
It's cool.
Yeah, I believe it was originally a game jam game. That was the thing. It was either a game jam game.
It looks
or
like
it
the
was
first one came out in 2006.
Yeah.
Flash game.
So I don't think global game jam is.
No, not
Yeah,
a
it was
Except they didn't flash.
Yeah.
Any questions? Welcome, Jason. It's going to be in Tulsa if you want to join our local one, but we'll have other ones. There's other ones available.
Truthfully,
I think the black and white one's coming up recently, which is like a monochromatic game
Oh,
jam.
itch.io has a game jam every day.
Yeah, it has a lot.
for looking one up though, there should be for the person in chat. There should be a place to find the nearest one to you. I think they have like a list of every
Yeah, they have.
site that's participating.
Yeah, they have a list on the Global Game Jam website if you're looking for it. I pop a link in, but I don't know how yet. What was the other thing? So I think what my plan is this year, I haven't fully thought it through because it'll change leading up. Because we've talked about 5 different project ideas. Alvaro and I've talked about ideas, like just a random when we hang out or whatever. So I'm always like, I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I haven't made an Unreal game and Game Jam in like 3 years. So I think what I'm gonna do is try and be an Unreal person again
Gonna champion
this year and pick a project and then just try and figure that out. So if anyone, it's like, you're just like, oh, what should I do? Just come on over and we will, it'll be a mess, but it'll be fun. So
So do you guys usually come up
there'll be
with
snacks.
snacks? You kind of come up with ideas beforehand, and then do you
Yeah,
like cheat
no.
post it based on the prompt? Or
Just bounce ideas off each other.
There's stuff I want to do at a game jam that's like on a backlog of like we were talking about the full motion video one. It's like, I would still like to do that.
Yeah.
To
I try not to show. I try to show up with a blank slate. Like I don't even know what the prompt is
Right.
until I get to TU, and then once ideas start, getting thrown back and forth, like, if I came with like an idea in mind, like I might be too pushy about it. Whereas if like the group that I'm in is kind of going in a different direction, it's like, you kind of want to be flexible.
Yeah.
Just, because it's like you don't have that much time. So it's like you don't want to spend a lot of time debating, oh, should we do a platformer or should we do first person shooters? Like you just kind of want to pick an idea and go.
well, Jeremy, he started on the Godot one,
Yeah.
and then he found other people to help polish it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
I'm not going to comment on that strategy, but
I don't feel like it was I mean, like, he found other people.
Yeah, he started early and kind of had an idea.
Yeah.
He had a game loop already done and asked if people wanted to come help him with his
Yeah.
game that was kind of already done.
The what was I going to say? Talking about game. Oh, okay. So I'm pretty sure it's just you guys haven't. We're the only ones that have like shipped a game on Steam and stuff. Like none of you guys have been on a shipped game. Okay, so this is a Daniel process of like once you get your game mechanic or what you're going to do, then you're not actually building out your game. You build out tools to make the game easier for you. So like example, my first game was Ramify, and it's like these puzzles. There's these blocks, and you gotta like make them. You press them till they explode, and when they explode, they send a ball into 4 directions, and you got to do that, right? So we spent a long time like, okay, can we get this to work? You know, like do these things talk to each other? And this was also like 10 years ago. And then we realized like, oh, if we just make a grid system, we could just swap out any one of those, and then we can generate a grid and build whatever size level we want. And it can just, go about it that way. And so we spent, probably a month working on tools, but then once that one tool was done, then it only took us a month to be like, okay, we have 150 levels, like these are done, like we don't have to worry about anything else. And then the next game, it took a while to be like, okay, what are we doing? And then so how it works is if you shoot a ball, it keeps bouncing around on like a pool table, and it doesn't stop until it's hit everything. But if it hits you, who's also on the pool table, then the whole level resets. And so we got that working within like a week, but then we spent like 2 months developing like different ideas, and it's like, okay, what works? And then once we had a bunch of tools ready, then we were able to generate levels, and we had like 500 levels within like 2 months. Then it was like, okay, we're just going to total it down to 150 that are good or whatever. So whenever you're building your own game that you're like, oh, I'm going to ship this out and all that, you're really building the tools to make you get the game done. You're like you'll figure out, like, you already have the game mechanic done. It's the tools to build it. So like you do art, right? So like you might, what's an art heavy game that would do something like that, where say you're doing a 2D platformer, you might build it to where and work with someone to where if you build out a spike, they already know what like the spike looks like and stuff like that. But then the programmer would work on it to say, okay, I needed it to like generate so many, and then like, oh, I need to have this many variations. That way when he does that, it does a bunch of different ones. So like there's that chip spike or whatever. There's things like that you'll realize like, oh, you're just building your tools out to make it easier. So does that make sense, or am I talking only about it?
Yeah. I would even argue in terms of art, it's effectively making a template that you would then use to then make just make the variations. Like in terms of a sprite sheet, you would have your base model, your wire work basically.
Oh, they're in Georgia.
Just take that and then run with it. Like I did that recently for a small game that I was working on that I'm not working on anymore, where I made a basic enemy type, and then I just took that enemy type and then copy pasted it multiple times, and then just started drawing on the basic enemy type to come up with variations. So that in terms of art workflow, I think that would be effectively what would happen.
I would see that being part of the plan in the beginning.
Mhm.
So kind of brainstorm just the basics of what you would need.
Mhm.
And then branch off from there.
Yeah. Kind of like blocking if you do sculpting at all. I don't know if, like in Mayo specifically what you can do, and Blender stuck because I'm poor. But yeah, blocking out and sculpting down, and then but you know what the block out is already, and so therefore you can take that silhouette and then apply it again and again and again.
I sent the link in here, but it's like not showing up. For Jay. GlobalGameJam.org. It's not showing up. I did a heart, so the heart went through.
You're muted.
I guess in terms of like sound
That
effects,
show?
so
No, it's not showing up.
Like you figure out the one sound effect that you want to have, like the thing that captures the sound that you want, and then you make variations based off of like what it would be hitting. Like I've been working on the game where like you have to put glass and at something, and then it makes that sound. But then you wouldn't want to change it like, oh, glassing stone versus glassing wood and that kind of stuff. And so you start off with one thing and then figure out the variations thereof.
And then have like a library ready.
Basically, yeah. But everything starts with that one template, that one structure, data structure.
Yeah.
It's very object oriented.
So have any of you guys seen other Game Jam like documentaries or anything like that?
No.
Says there Amnesia Fortnite. There was a Game Jam, there's Train Jam. So that is, it starts, I believe, in Chicago, and then it goes to San Francisco, and it's the week before the Game Developers Conference. And everyone gets on a train, and then you want to make sure you have everything downloaded because it's hard to get. And you have basically so many days leading up to you getting to San Francisco. And then when you get to San Francisco, they have an area where all of the games are on display.
That sounds intense.
Route that I took earlier this year.
Really?
Yeah, I went from Fort Garrett, Chicago to San Fran.
How long was the How long was the
Well, I
drive?
broke it up in weeks. It would have been in a couple of days.
Yeah, see, that's how long it is. You
Okay.
do a jam the whole time you're
They
there.
must have been buying beds because my sleeps were not.
Yeah, they all bought beds. No, it's like a whole thing. Like you buy your thing there, and
And
like you have your own little area where all the
it's
other.
a beautiful route.
Yeah, it looked great.
Did they do a documentary about that or?
Yes, but it was on YouTube, and I haven't looked it up in. It wasn't on like it's documentary, but
Do they do it every year or?
yeah, they do it every year.
When's GDC again? March?
March?
Yeah, March.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wants to go on a train.
Now, I know I'll ask about Unity in a second, but like I do an Unreal, they have the Mega Jam, and that's every October, and that's online. But they basically, when you're talking about like who's the best, they have a whole thing where they will tell you who's in first place, and if you're in first place, you get basically what's the 480? Is that the NVIDIA card that everyone keeps talking about?
49.
49. Yeah, you got two of those in a computer. It's like a $10,000 computer.
How do they know who's the best? How do you?
No, they do a vote. Like they have a whole system in
I
place.
was thinking, for some reason in my head, like the game jam was going on, and they're like, they're currently winning. You gotta.
No, it's done, and then they
Yeah.
play them all, and then different people internally play it, and then they have a scoring system. They tell you the whole scoring system,
Oh,
and you can. NVIDIA gives out a bunch of different graphics cards, and then like Intel will give out processors. So if you're like, man, we need to finish this game and we need some new hardware, do whatever you got to do. But I feel like there should be like a mercy thing that's like whoever had the worst art should get the
Right.
better graphics card. Be like, oh,
Help
you
me
need
out.
this.
Hey,
There you go.
you need this more than I do.
Yeah. So there's that one. But what about Game Maker? Do they have like a big?
Not as far as I know.
What about Unity? Do they have any?
The only thing I know is there is like a Unity centered itch.io jam, but like
Yeah.
we've already discussed, itch has every kind of jam under the sun.
Yeah,
They
they
have
have
like a Frankie's game jam, which is basically a Unity.
Basic, I would say it's very.
But I it's one where they're like, we're going to give you a pro license for a year if you win or something like that.
I don't think so.
I'm not aware of any.
I can't think of like a company endorsed one, more like
Yeah.
a company loved one.
Yeah. Okay.
Like they'll use it for the advertising, but they won't give anything for it.
Yeah. So those are some other good ones. On to other events and stuff going on. We're going to Tulsa PopCon, right?
When was that?
That is February
Third?
3rd. It's a Saturday only. I've never seen these people or know anything about them. I didn't even have an approval process. It was like, your check cleared, you got a booth. So,
It depends on who's running it, but I think I have a connection to Arthur Green if he's still running PopCon. I don't know if
is
he's
it Tulsa Pop or this guy, it's like his website is rcons.com or something like that.
Okay.
And it's basically a bunch of one-day cons in every major city.
Yeah,
And it's like a circuit.
Because the guy Arthur Green is a local business person. That's in Tulsa specifically. He did PopCon or Tulsa PopCon, I think it was.
Yeah.
Well, there's the Tulsa Pop Culture Expo. That's a separate event.
That's dead.
Is
That
that
is dead?
Yeah.
We killed.
Because that's what I last heard, and you were like, "Oh, PopCon's happening." Like, is it the same one?
No, it's just the same word.
COVID killed it.
Yeah. Among other like conventions and stuff like because Name Your Game was the best
Yeah.
convention that existed that we had. So there was no I don't have anything against cosplayers or anything like that. The whole convention was just game tournaments. And so you go there, if you think you're the best at Mahjong, they had a Mahjong tournament. I did a Pokemon tournament and a Pokemon card tournament. Every type of Street Fighter, there was a tournament for every version of Street Fighter you could think of.
Nice.
Halo. Yeah, they had Halo, but it was LAN. Like they brought in the whole thing. Like it was cool.
I went to a Halo 2 tournament once and accidentally broke one of the Xboxes.
That's-
Because I tried to restart it, and then it just got like a system error and wouldn't come back up, and they had to squeeze everyone else back onto 3 Xboxes, and I felt really bad.
But they're connected to the people that do all the pinball machines. So there were straight up pinball tournaments, DDR, and that was literally the whole event. But here was the key to all of it. They were like, hey, it's going to be a weekend pass, $20. Whereas like Tokyo and Tulsa, they're like, you need to have the small business loan, then you can get the basic loan and stuff like that. And so like,
Did you have to pay to enter the tournaments?
That's probably why it's not around anymore.
Yeah.
no, it was 2019, and then it did huge money. So each tournament, you paid for the prize pool of that tournament. So like, if 100 people showed up for that game, then it just got a bigger prize pool.
Okay, so you wouldn't pay to enter each tournament then?
So the $20 is the venue fee, and then the $5 is the pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but you could literally, if you didn't want to do that, you could just go booth to booth and just play games, go to the free play area
Nice.
the whole weekend, and then hang out. And they still had like the cosplay thing, but they didn't have, not the cosplay, that's the celebrities. They didn't bring in a bunch of celebrities and be like, oh, here's this guy that was in 2 episodes of Stranger Things, did his autograph. You know, it was like,
John Carmack.
yeah. Oh, John Carmack was there. I had one.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
I would wait in line to
Yeah, I'd
go
wait
get
in
John
line.
Carmack's autograph.
John Remek? What about John Remek?
yes,
Both of them.
all of them.
Yeah.
Anyone at that era, I would definitely go for it. But anyways, so I bought the domain for Tulsa Games Festival. And so the idea is let's just do our own festival where we do team up with other people, have like a weekend where we play games and stuff like that, but then we show off Tulsa Game Dev games.
Before you move off of Tulsa PopCon, were you gonna see if anybody else wanted to join the?
It's
the
$20 a person if you. Well, I only got like 3 people, and it's only 1 day. Does anyone else want to
Okay.
go? Like, I know you're going. Albert, were you going, or like you're just gonna go to the
the-
event?
I'm gonna go and support you guys.
The table.
It's not even to support. Like
I mean,
it's
support
more
in
of an.
general.
It's like just an outreach. Like we're just
Yeah.
trying to get people to be like, hey, we have these meetings. We do
It's
this stuff.
it's meant to be just for Tulsa game devs as a group, right? It's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go there and ask questions really loudly.
Yeah.
So what is this?
Yeah.
Well, just when we did the other festival, the idea you were there. Did you go also? Because I could have sworn you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys went. The idea with that was to be like, hey, we do this thing and it's existing, you know. And then I realized like if we just go to these other conventions, like that's, you know, we're like the bears that go where the salmon and the fish jump around. Like that's the area where I was trying to think of.
I definitely like the fact that we took the idea that we wanted to try with the fest with the whole game commercial thing and having that playing on a loop and stuff like that, and we're applying it now to
Yeah.
going to taking booths at various events now.
Right.
I like that.
Well, I still think we should do the other festival. Elliot had a really good idea of where like you go to the festival and you have like a sticker stamp
Mhm.
where if you go up to all the Tulsa game devs, if you go there, then we'd have so many games on Steam and be like, okay, you get a free game. So any kid that like goes there and like goes to all the Tulsa game devs, they then get a free game
Yeah, oh yeah, that would
just for going and stuff like that. And there was variations of that idea, but like,
You just make it like an interactive scavenger hunt at the event where they it incentivizes them to actually go and play everybody's games.
Yeah. And so do something like that instead. So we're gearing up more towards one of those sort of events. So like if we did something like that,
Mhm.
like you have your game, but then like Elliot and I have one, you're working on yours.
Yeah.
So like we would have a few things to show off, but the idea was have other games to supplement our lack of games. Not that you guys aren't playing games, like that's no big deal. It's when we did the event, you know, it starts and then not even 8 minutes into the event, everyone's at a booth, everything's at a lock and standstill, and you can't move booth to booth because everything's filled.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have other stuff and it's like, oh, come do a scavenger hunt and come to this area and go to this, you know, play this person's game, you get that, but also it's next to the Street Fighter area.
Yeah, even just other consoles.
Yeah, so like having
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
free plays basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were leaning more towards that. So like most of you guys went. like everyone on this side, you guys went to the event. Was there anything, if we were going to move forward and do our own event, that you're like, I'd rather just do this?
If we do that, like we could do specific, like the 3 play thing, we could do like curated games that we've like the game, like the people showcasing to like either A, vote on, or B, suggest. But they have to be like smaller scale games or something like that on Steam. Like I mean, like we would argue Celeste or would be one, or like just something that started off as an indie maybe. Like I would Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion is going to be my suggestion.
Yeah.
It's a cute little game for like $6-7, but like that something small like that would be stuff that I think would be great to showcase with those 3 play areas.
Right.
Like they don't get they don't really benefit anything from it or anything like that, but at the same time I feel like they wouldn't say no if they found out.
Yeah.
What about teaching a class on like game development?
Or how to general.
We're not smart enough.
The quick answer is I wasn't thinking of talks,
Well, not
but
talks,
like
I
like
guess.
just a general area to like, hey, this is how a game's made.
Oh, that would be
That'd
kind of
be
fun.
nice.
Like shoot an like not an infomercial, but like a quick like breakdown of like what goes into a game.
Well,
or
It
something.
could even be interactive. It could be really quick. It'd just be like, hey, you make a little cube for this game or whatever, and then be like, hey, see, that's all making a game. It's just
Yeah.
little steps like that. Yep.
It's just 1,000 of them. And
Mhm.
some of
Yeah,
them,
1,000, yeah.
it's 1,000 of them, and some of them are going to make you cry.
Well, I mean, you could even have, if you had like a few computers, you could have one and be like, hey, you make music and sound effects on this free program, and you make the model, and then here's a couple
like a
no
Disney
code,
exhibit.
no code
A little
programming.
bit, yeah.
but
I
they-
mean, I'm cool with it.
But
It's
then
like,
they could all be on the same like GitHub thing or whatever. You're like, oh look, hey, you're making a game that he made the music, you made the art, like just something to encourage people to be like, hey, you can make a game.
yeah.
I like that.
I mean, like, I like this idea. It was more I didn't know what you were thinking execution.
I mean,
was.
that's different. But I mean, I like your idea better. I think I was just thinking like just
would be
like part one of a like it's just somebody gives a lecture on game design for like people who've never done it before, like kids or just
Yeah.
novice or like like should show everyone doing from scratch or something like that.
Yeah.
Work on things.
I like
and then
that.
Just autocompiles it at the end, very much like how those like exhibits or like.
But I like the
Buying this
interactive,
this
like
just-
just
yeah,
build
it creates that
yeah,
narrative
or like
that's
somebody's in
slowly
charge of
changing.
music,
Yeah.
somebody's in charge of art, and
Yeah.
it just
Yeah,
happens.
so we have
Right.
means of communicating between these 3 stations.
Huh.
Mhm.
That'd be fun.
We could really do like panels or something too if it was a longer event. But I agree with anything that's just in addition to playing the games, because I do think it does stack up. So whenever people are waiting for like a spot, like a game to open, I feel like there needs to be something else that you can just kind of go do for 5 minutes. and
Yeah.
come back.
I think gamifying game development would be a really interesting task.
Yeah.
But you can also make it its own part of the scavenger hunt. Like, did you make a sound effect in your game? Did you do the,
Yeah.
Mhm,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
true. Yeah.
So, like,
Little
because
checklist.
that's more for kids, but then like adults, the idea is like just come around and play
right.
whatever you want to do, and like we'll have tournaments or whatever.
I think I think you could have a tournament if somebody made a multiplayer game. You could have
Well,
a
no,
tournament
no,
for that game if they
No,
wanted.
no, no. I'm talking like people that already play Street Fighter.
Oh,
we
yeah,
were just
yeah.
bringing in those because there's the OK gamers that are always looking for OK fighters.
Mhm.
That
There's a lot of little grassroots scenes.
Yeah.
too, like,
I'm saying like invite all of them to one
Mhm.
place.
We're also going to have. Wait, did they shut down the Sand Springs game place?
I hope not.
I really hope
No.
not too. But it'd be cool to get in contact with them again
Waypoint?
and be like
Waypoint. Yeah, Waypoint's open.
have the Waypoint.
Rewind's gone. That's why I was thinking.
Gotcha. Waypoint. Have Waypoint like maybe host a tourney or something like that. In conjunction with us or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool to maybe talk to them
Well,
about.
you know about I forget what it's called, like War Pigs or Warhogs on the side of the river.
Warguns.
Oh,
Warguns.
Warguns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that
There's
that
opportunities
run
in that
I
aspect.
had no unemployee.
Yeah, they do a weekly Smash tournament. Went to it last week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They do all kinds of weird. They do like fighting game tournaments and stuff too.
It's in a scary part of town.
Well, it's like that area. It's right by the Goodwill, right?
Yeah,
It's right across
like
the
that
winery.
industrial kind of.
Yeah.
It- It's also a very strange role playing because you kind of just like go through
Yeah.
it all and you're like, this is a small.
Like, this is small, then you go through another area.
Bigger every time.
Yeah. And then you get in the garage, like, oh,
Yeah, and it's all like metal shits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a literal like cage for the street.
Oh,
that
so
outside
yeah,
the gates was-
So I played TF2 in a garage.
They were probably for 50 years. That place was just there. Like they would put unprocessed wood in the front and then cut wood in the back, and like
Yeah.
there was just
Yeah.
who knows what to
Yeah.
make whatever.
It was cheap there.
Yeah. But reaching out to all those people and then like, okay, let's do an event. But so that helps with like, okay, people that are actually working on stuff and like, okay, we do this, but like then getting projects actually like grow, like, oh, we should actually work on that. I feel like game jams are where it comes into where people are like, oh, we worked on this game, we know these people, and that like helps grow it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So like I feel like it's a cycle. I feel like we have the cycle now of like things growing.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing would be like advice for grants, because I know like Unreal has a grant, which I was kind of looking at maybe doing for one of the games that I have. But I feel like if we delve into that, that's too much.
The grant thing, like
Like
you
more
gotta
like,
get something done first. Like you need at least something out there before you start talking about grants. And
oh
stuff.
yeah. That's the thing. That's going from it being just about the love of the game and making the game and stuff like that to trying to make it into a survivable income.
Yeah.
And I feel like that we're not there as a group yet.
And then once you get to the point where you get enough money where you can say, other people make my game for me.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, would you really want that?
I know.
It was more like
That's what I'm trying to move.
Yeah.
what would be nice is like compensation of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like you scratch my back, I scratch your back, kind of like, oh, there's an artist who wants to make a game and they need a programmer, but you need as a programmer.
There
you
is
need an artist.
something like that. I forget what it was called. Is someone sharing the Tulsa Remote channel where it's kind of like that for businesses where like your business needs a website. This guy needs, I don't know, 50 chairs delivered or something like that.
We're halfway there on part, like, because I feel like that's actually two separate problems.
Okay.
The first one is getting the connections. We have the link tree that has like everyone's
Mhm.
portfolio game, whatever,
Yeah.
all on one giant mess, but it's not searchable and it's based on whoever I've met the most recent.
Yeah.
So like my stuff is down at the bottom, but then I think you're like near the top, right? Like, did you even see it on the link tree? Okay, well, I emailed it to you. And then like your game is on like somewhere in the middle because I met you whenever,
Yeah,
which is
well,
not.
we did the fest was like somewhere
Yeah.
there,
And then, but like the most active games are Zofia and, you know, Moncon.
yeah.
I was gonna say Megalith. I was like, no, that's the name of the company. Like those are the most active games, so like they should be close to the front. So like I feel like we need a better way. We have the Tulsa Game Developers website.
So maybe we should start developing the website out a little, fleshing it out more.
I am down for that. I have just no idea what to do with it. So if we were gonna have a website, I know a little bubble came out just now. Sorry. I thought you were pointing to me.
No. It's just like we have a room of programmers and designers. This is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Game Jam, the website.
Side G.
Yeah.
Website Jam. That is fun.
What's the Tulsa game developer site in now? Is it WordPress or something else?
Something I don't know. But
Yeah.
Have you heard of Card? 2 R's.
you know, is
So
it like a template service?
Yeah, it's kind of in between Linktree and Squarespace,
Hmm.
where it's like the idea is to provide like one-page sites with like a
Mhm.
bunch of links on them, but it's not as restrictive as Linktree. Like you can do formatting and group stuff, but it's not a full-blown like WordPress site either. So it's kind of
Can you
it hits the
send it to
middle.
me?
Yeah,
So like we could be like, here's a list of all the artists. Here's the list of
Mhm.
active games.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll send it to
Like,
you.
The flip side, it
the-
would be too
oh,
hard to set up.
'cause, like, Right now we have like we should have like the wish list zone.
Mhm.
Like Moncon, Zofia need a wish list. Are you on Steam yet?
Yeah, I'm gonna launch it for PopCon. So
Okay.
Nice.
on February 3rd, it will be on.
Did you already go through the approval process and like they approved the website?
I got to slap 5 screenshots up there now that I updated some HUDs. But
Okay.
now,
I would
how long
do-
does it take for them to approve it?
I would do it now
Mhm.
because chances of anything happening, you never know what's going to happen, and then
It was me. I was checking out the emojis.
um, you don't know if anything is going to go wrong, but also the quicker you get your site up, then you can put it in the Discord, get that batch. Then, oh, we have this event. You're just trying to get the wish lists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't have any signage or anything like that. So post this conference, whoever goes, we're going to talk about like what we actually need a booth to have. I'm bringing a bunch of QR codes on stickers, and my hope is to get a bunch of like old copies of like PS4 and like 360 games that are like the cases are already ruined, and then just slap them on the ruined cases and just leave those out there as like the display thing because it's like it's gamer.
You just get a bunch of cheap blank cases too, just have
Yeah.
white ones, green or blue ones.
Right. That's what I was gonna look for. And so if I can find those, that's all I have. But I have no signage of like how we want to do stuff or anything like that. I have a bunch of black tablecloths. That's pretty much it. So it's gonna be laptops and a bunch of tablecloths and be like, here.
I wonder if it's too late to get a vinyl banner, one of those pop-up ones.
There's also the budgetary concern of like,
Yeah.
I gotta pay for that.
So
So
we can all chip in.
we would have to figure out like, okay, do we need a vinyl thing or do we need more booths? Like if we were doing like we have this one, but if we were doing like a booth a month, then I'd be like, yeah, or even a quarter.
Right.
Yeah, I figured it would just be for Tulsa Game Devs. You know, put
Yeah.
the logo on there, and so that way we have something.
We can bring
Yeah.
it here for the meeting and put it up. That would just.
Yeah.
Or no, put it over there so people online can see.
Oh yeah, they see it on there.
I think a vinyl would be great, just kind of in general, because also it'd be good for the fest and stuff like that too.
Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, I think a vinyl would definitely be the right call in general. I don't know what we have for a design currently.
Yeah.
Maybe we should make a contest, put it on the Discord.
Yeah. The top needs to say Tulsa Game Devs. I've gone to
Yeah.
so many events where they have like some dragon doing something and it's like, well, what's your game? And I could see it from like across the room, but
Yeah.
then underneath behind everything was the actual thing.
So
For your idea for getting a bunch of junker game cases, we should burn CDs and put them in each game case, and on the CD it just has a text file with a bunch of Steam codes.
Oh,
For everybody's games.
yeah.
That'd be a lot of CDs.
that'd be some
Yeah.
fun.
I have tons of blank CDs at home that I don't know how I'm going to get rid of them, and
There you go.
that's how we're going to do it.
Okay.
That'd be some funny
Very
energy.
people
though.
own a CD player.
Well, there's that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of not
Like
a-
none of my devices have them anymore.
Yeah.
Just have QR codes, put them like a paste bin.
Well, so you
Well,
get
no,
Just
no,
big
like my
text box.
computer.
Yeah, I have to have an external disk drive. and then look at-
Let's give those away too.
Get the CD cases and then just put like tape a SIM card on the inside of it. You're like, oh, it's a Nintendo case.
I mean, technically, you could
New
just print
iPhones, they don't even
out
let you take out the
the
Yeah, I mean, but it would be
Not
the
as any
novelty
problem.
of it. And then we all,
Yeah.
each of us signs the boxes.
right. So it's limited edition.
Limited edition,
Right.
yeah.
Does that have an SD card read?
I don't think so.
Gosh.
It's 2006.
No.
It's the future. Get with it.
No, this is a gaming laptop, so it has an Ethernet port.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it's got USB at least.
Yeah.
on
Well, it's
that
got
side.
stuff back
Like,
here. It
you know,
has
USB sticks
USB,
too.
USB-C, and an HDMI back here.
I feel like if you were just handing out flash drives at a convention, that would be kind of sus.
Yeah. I felt like it was already a stretch with the SIM card.
Well, did you see? I forget. It was at like some tech conference where the NSA had sponsored like a charging booth,
Oh yeah.
and they had a sign up that said like, "Plug it in, trust us, nothing will happen."
You know, if you had the Nintendo 64 cartridges, a QR code would probably fit perfectly on that.
Oh.
You
Yeah.
have like 2 or 3, and it would be passed around so someone could just hold it in front of their phone to actually use it. It probably works perfectly.
You can get junker cartridges at vintage stock for like,
No, you
You could just get blank cases.
yeah,
too.
blank
You don't need
shells
that.
from on like eBay. It's like people that are trying
vintage
to
shells
stock's
are super
probably
cheap.
cheaper.
nothing's cheap at vintage stuff.
Well, if you just get like Madden, NFL, whatever.
90s.
Yeah, like nobody wants that.
95, 96, man, 97.
I mean, if you wanted like a curio, we could 3D print one, and like it would have the logo like engraved in the back since it's a 3D printed looking cartridge.
I think
I
we're all
will-
really overthinking.
And
this.
we're all yeah, no,
Hold on.
Well, we're just trying to do it thematically. You
All-
can just put QR codes in.
All of these ideas I like though. I'm
I like the 3D printed one because then we could give that out as curios.
Is there
I
public
know a
access
couple.
to a 3D printer?
Huh?
Is there public access?
There's the library
The
does,
library.
but you have to pay per gram for amount of filament. I own a 3D printer, and I also know a couple people who own farms.
Well, if you own it, wait, I'm sorry, you said like farm?
Yeah, so they're called 3D printing farms. So they 3D print en masse, whatever your models are.
so if I just need like 3, they'll be like, okay, it's this much.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's just like a manufacturer.
Yeah, basically, it's literally walls of brushes up. and
It's like
down that
rentals.
Wow.
way. Yeah.
Do you think they have a gray close to like the N64 gray?
Oh yeah, that's my the stock that I used to do test prints and stuff like that. Is a
Because-
perfect great. I think I have a picture.
Because we need to get Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and N64. And then
How long do those take to print as well?
If it's if we're doing normal size, about yay by about yay,
Yeah.
depending on the fidelity that we're wanting to shoot for, I would argue it's probably about a 12-hour print at worst
For each one?
for each one. But since it's like this and I could stack them up, what it would probably then shorten it by about 22 hours. But that's me like like I have to play with splicer settings and stuff like that. I could do an experiment and we could bring it in.
now where I would be more inclined if we could get like the Genesis plastic case
Mhm.
and you just get an old case and then get someone that knows graphic design and then put that in the case. And then same with the PlayStation and the other ones. And just have like it look like it's just ads for
Our games.
the games. Well, no, not even the ads for the games. It's just like Tulsa Game does like, hey, here's the
Yeah,
picture.
like I
Yeah.
say, like a little freebie thingy. It's like, oh, it's a little keychain thing.
giveaways.
For a booth?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were getting booths.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I am gonna bring candy to pass out. So
Let's
that
go.
Reese's draws the people in,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be close to like Valentine's Day. So we're gonna have a bunch of Valentine's Day.
I've got an unmarked van.
Yeah.
I got
There's
it.
a
There we go.
bunch of creepy dads who use the same ideology on Halloween every year too, so.
Well,
be careful with the.
I can't.
Valentine's Day candy, and
Oh,
it's like, I find the most cringe.
No.
things.
They're all going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Be my little gamer.
You're my talking like a little heart Valentine's? Are you talking like the heart Valentine's?
Yeah.
It's like hideous messages.
You can order those. if
Yeah,
you like
I-
your
right.
personalized, Yeah, that would be so hilarious.
Just, all you have to do to get a bunch of messages is just like give people who kind of support and make sure no one
True,
said
true.
bad things.
But if you wanted to do it in company that looked like a good company, you could just do it with like the sweethearts or whatever they.
PGD
Yeah,
or whatever.
so screw the rest of your budget. I think we go all in. I think we just say, yeah.
Budgets.
People
just
will remember that.
Literally just a small like $1 just burst into flame with every idea.
Then like every 200th is, it just says Pikachu on it.
Yeah.
That's the one you go.
The shiny.
Yeah.
Speaking, were you here last month? You weren't. Did you see his game, the Pokemon game? He's making a Pokemon game.
Making a Pokemon.
Yeah.
He likes Pokemon a lot. You should show him his
Show
Pokemon.
it.
I'll
Show
pull
it.
it out.
Show the
Okay,
game.
what's the ways of doing it? It's Pokemon, but with animals instead. That's the.
Man, if you're a part of the Pokemon Mind community, I love you. I don't want to say that too quickly. Is that new laptop?
It is.
Nice.
I got myself this for Christmas because I couldn't. I'm like, I can't bring my work laptop to stuff. So I'm like, I can't run it. So that's happened.
I feel that. I'm having to share.
I'm
having
to share a laptop with
my
Not me.
significant other. It's her work laptop, my showcase
Oh,
laptop.
If I did that on my work laptop, they'd kill me.
That's a beautiful laptop case you have, by the way.
Well, thank you. It's Amazon. It matches my work laptop.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
I didn't do that on Basics, but.
Yeah.
I think this is Amazon Basics.
Is that official or working?
That's my official title.
Nice.
I mean, we can change it. I've never found anything better. So
Do you guys have any other conferences that are coming up though? Like there's Tokyo or Tokyo OK or whatever.
Yeah.
We like every
I can
year,
do some research if you want.
but I didn't know if you guys go to anything that because we can do other gaming events and things like that.
I didn't grow up with that. I actually set up, play the game properly. Just do the bear for now.
Fire.
But this is a game. You can play it if you want. Somebody else can play it. I'm tired of playing my games.
I-
Play it.
I completely.
Can I get a break?
We know this somewhere?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, no.
I
gotta clap. I've seen.
This is just going straight into YouTube.
Yeah.
But I have the
Still-
device that we can take that and then live stream stuff.
I used to
Oh,
wear a
nice.
controller.
Switch.
I got controllers that I wear out. I didn't bring a
Do you
controller.
have it with you?
So.
No, man.
But yeah, the last,
Somebody, yeah, hop in.
the
Somebody.
last build I saw of this
All right,
was in
well, no one's
September or
taking
something
this.
like
It's
that.
not
The game was specifically told that you should-
Yeah, I was like, he made a Pokemon game.
Play the game.
Go with Pokemon.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Controls.
Sure, yeah, we know, we can do that. I was
Yeah.
just literally just going through the list of, I'm gonna get. Tony.
I was kind of hoping for fixins again, but if you want to, if it's
Oh,
like you want to try all of
oh,
the
yeah.
restaurants.
Yeah, I was
Here,
gonna
I'm trying to get the demo of like the whole first
try stuff. Also,
So still a little rough right now, but it's coming.
You don't have to
Like-
apologize for what I'm experiencing right now.
close.
They were open last time.
No, like
There's a
that.
bunch of, it is all
Pony.
these
Yeah,
shit's
they're
gonna
Pony
take.
players.
Oh, yeah. because that's right next to Cali.
Yeah.
I just went there.
We're talking about the
What
Coney place
happens
next
like
to
way
it.
before this is.
Coney Island's already
Yeah,
closed.
you say
Yeah.
the little
Yeah.
Rocket members? Is that the Team Rocket of this game?
Have you guys tried the Cabin Boys food yet?
It's good.
I've heard it was like basic.
How
Yeah.
far is
I mean,
it?
they're mostly beers.
Oh, we about
next
to catch
to
a
us.
duck?
It's next door to us.
Okay.
Where's that pond?
I go there for the beer. I have it.
Yeah, the beers are good and the food is good too.
But I already have a bear, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same price as
damn.
Fixin', so.
Why? Hold on.
I'm okay with
Oh,
that.
there's an energy bar. You tricked me.
Chicken tenders.
So that wasn't a pond.
That's always a safe bet if they got chicken tenders.
The best chicken tenders are the bar that's over
Yeah.
there though, because it's like $5 for like
All right, thanks.
a bunch of them. Like,
This better be a.
like it's unusually cheap for the amount of food.
Currently not.
Son of a. Can't touch the ball.
Try to break it.
I see ducks.
It's pretty breaking. Remind me, are you coming over in
You
person
got-
or are we just meeting online?
Throw the ball into the lake.
I was gonna talk to you about it tonight, because
Oh,
I have no
How do I
idea.
throw the ball?
Pretty much everything on the list, I was like,
How do I get the bear?
I feel like
I just
there's
started
anything
anything
I
I
need
need
to
to just
need
a way
it
to
out.
set it up real quick, but yeah, you just run and
in
you
that sense,
run into them, they run away
it
from
also depends on what the weather's like.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Here we
Yeah,
go.
Because the rain starts in about
What?
a half hour.
All right, let's do
It's
it.
gonna get really nasty.
Well, these are all like, you can capture it, but all the.
So my-
Yeah, that's the goes in right now.
Well, were you here in,
What moves
you weren't
I
here in the 07 one, were you?
Ooh.
I was here for the 11 one.
Hold on.
Okay.
I just think about that.
Do you have?
No, they did freeze them up.
Basically, there's
Yeah.
like, yeah, there's.
I just wanted to set the
And
narrative.
basically, your moves get more powerful.
The-
I made a toboggan run on a
This is like
stage.
one, and they all level up to three, and that's. where there's
Basically,
three,
my
like,
family
different
went, they lost power for
The
7
ducks
days.
suck, huh?
Yeah, well,
And
they're,
so,
we got the. level
Every
five
time that
there.
happens,
What?
I'm always like, okay, we need to be ready. What's a week
God.
of stuff
The
that we
duck
need?
is way out of proportion.
And like, I was like, oh, let me stop by. I was gonna get a drink or something at
I like
Walmart on the way
it a
home
lot.
or way here.
We got
And
sound too.
every single row was filled up and everyone was in there. It was the neighborhood
Damn.
Walmart and it was just jam packed. And I was like, no,
Yeah,
this
that's
is not good.
Being late to buying bread in the South.
Yeah.
It's still my favorite Trump con.
Right.
I'm not good at
You
first
show
person
up with
shooters.
a
Anytime I have to move
light
the
on,
camera around, I was like,
yeah,
whoa,
that's
yeah,
why
that's gonna be down.
I'm still working on, so I just recently
next
put in a
is supposed to
new
be
like
rain,
old
but-
camera controller to.
Throughout the rest of the weekend, though,
So
everyone's
I'll be able
getting
to
ready
swap
for
it
a terrible weekend.
So it feels really good. on
Yeah,
the
I
controller
mean,
right
Sunday
now,
looks
but
like it's gonna be the
with
worst.
kind
And
of
then
just with
the
the controller shit in.
is gonna stick around for a few days.
Yeah.
Swipe hits all of them.
Mhm.
Music too, or?
Alright, I'm gonna
Yeah.
turn
Oh.
this off. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
who's watching. We meet here every second Thursday of the month.
You're gonna stand into that one there.
So if you ever
Oh,
want to
it
join in, we'll be
changes
trying to do the live stream. We're going to do the live streams every
It
week.
changes the order automatically
So
based on
good
that.
luck. Have fun.
Oh, yeah, I think it does. Or maybe it just, if it's.
Because Swipe was
Like,
on
not,